Hey guys, it's Aubrey from Muttley Plans. I wanted to do a video on my fountain pen collection, and so that's what I'm going to go through. This box right here keeps some of my pens, so I don't have a whole lot of pens. Let me go ahead and full disclaim that. And because I don't have a lot of pens, I don't really have to keep a whole lot of them in this box. I usually maybe one or two, I think over the last week or two, I've kept in since I got my Esterbrook Estie. But because I have so few pins, I actually usually tend to use them, which is good, I'm not complaining. And so I haven't really had to do a whole lot for like storing pins that I'm not using, stuff like that. But what I did probably several months ago, I'm not exactly sure when, but several months ago, I actually, my husband and I visited a cigar shop in Nacogdoches, Texas, and which is where I got this sticker. And in that cigar shop, the cigar shop was actually selling just these like random cigar boxes, and this, the guy said, was like a sample box, which is why it's got these little dividers in there. And I was looking at that, and I was like, oh man, that's actually perfect for fountain pens. And so I bought this box for $3. The cigar shop gave me this sticker and then all of these other stickers, with the exception of this one, I put on there. And in fact, these for full disclosure, 5, I just put on there before I did this video because I have been meaning to put more stickers on it and I just hadn't. So that's that. This is a cigar box. It's actually really handy. It is wooden. It doesn't have any velvet or anything, so I wouldn't put any super precious pins right on it. I have been playing around with, let me grab it. I have been playing around with like putting something like some lace in there and just gluing it down or something. But I haven't gotten to that yet because, like I said, I haven't really been using it up until recently. So, but what you see here is my entire fountain pen collection, and what I did is I went in and I put them in order from my cheapest to my more expensive ones. And so I'm just going to go through them one by one. I'm going to let you know like what I like about them, what I dislike about them. And then at the end, I will let you know which one is my absolute favorite, and stuff like that, okay? So, first up is my Jinhao Century 100 pen in the colorway Guava. So, I bought this pen strictly because I thought it was pretty, and my husband thinks I'm crazy, but I feel like this pen reminds me of Christmas, and so I bought it when it was on sale. It's on Amazon, but I've seen it on places like AliExpress, and yeah, it's a cute pen, and you can see it says Jinhao. It's gold trim, right? And then the only green on here is the green, and it's sparkly green on this, I think it's the finial. And then they've got a cute little carriage on the cap right there. And then everything else is just honestly cheap plastic. But anyway, it was about $10 to $15, I think. And then this is what it looks like uncapped. I will say a pet peeve of mine on this pen is that it does not seal very well, and so the ink definitely evaporates or gets darker the longer you keep it inked. I do have ink in here. It is Diamine Sherwood green. And then additionally, so this is a fine nib, and the nib is gorgeous. But it started off as a medium nib, and then I actually went online and I bought a pack of 3 nibs, a medium, a fine, and an extra fine, because the medium nib that it came with was so dang scratchy. And the nib was super easy to change out. You just screw it out and then put your new one back in. But I wanted to try a different size nib because I was like, hey, did I get a bad nib? Did I, or what's going on? And it turns out it's just the way they make their nibs, I guess. But writing with this is not like my most favorite. Honestly, this is probably a purchase that I would have told past me not to make. I am almost out of the ink in there, but you can see I have just a smidge more. It is a converter fill, super easy, and honestly, if you want a pen that you don't mind throwing around a bit, it's not a bad pen. I just personally don't like how it writes, and so I actually have found myself semi-avoiding using it, which I hate, because if I buy a pen, regardless of how much it costs, I want to actually want to use it. So I don't know what I'm going to do with it. It's probably going to stay in my collection for a while until I figure that out. And you may see it on the channel from time to time, but I don't think it's going to be one that is going to be like a long-term writer. It's probably going to only hold accent colors. So Jinhao Century 100. My next one is one that my mom got me for Christmas because I asked for it, but it is a Natami, and it is clear and rose gold. I love this pen. It's, if you look it up on Amazon, it's 15 to 20 bucks. It is in a fine nib, and that's just fine by me. I've currently got it inked up with Noodler's Periwinkle. I really enjoy writing with this pen quite a bit. I was worried about how small it is because it seemed a little bit small when I got it, and you can't really cap it because it just doesn't work. But I actually really enjoy writing with this pen, and I can write with this pen for a while. It actually was my main weekly writer, holding my ink of the week for honestly the first 3 or 4 weeks of the month or of the year, and some of last year. So I've really enjoyed it. It's really pretty, and as you can see, I'm not gonna undo the bottom, but it is a converter fill. I know some people don't like demonstrator pens. I thought I was one of those people, but I would encourage anybody who's like, no, I really don't like demonstrator pens. I would encourage you to actually buy a cheap demonstrator pen, not one of the expensive ones unless you have money to do that with, to see, because this actually surprised me how much I enjoyed using this pen, and it didn't bother me at all to see the ink, which was a pleasant surprise. And I think it's honestly a very pretty pen. And so, yeah, I would highly recommend. It's a pretty smooth writer right out of the box, even in the fine nib. This is my first pen that's in a fine nib, and I actually enjoyed it. I'm more of a medium nib person. This does write in between a fine and a medium, I feel like. So it's not too fine, but it works really well. So anyway, that's the Natami clear and rose gold. And then this next one was one of my very first ones. This was my first one that I was like, oh man, that's really pretty. And then all of a sudden it started showing up everywhere. I'm like, this is my sign to spend about 25 bucks. And actually, I didn't spend it because I didn't want to pull the trigger on it. My husband actually was nice enough to buy me this. But this is a Hongdian N8, and it's in maple, I think is what they call it. And yeah, it's gorgeous. As you can see, it's got the maple leaves. It's this dark red, and then it's got rose gold, and it's even got a maple leaf on the finial right there, and then just rose gold there. It is in the size, or the medium, wow, words. The nib is a medium, and it's actually got really pretty work on the nib, which I really appreciate. It is a converter fill. This pen is a dream to write with. It's also got a pretty decent ink capacity. I don't have any problems with the converter. And honestly, it's really, really nice. I will say it's also very, very wet. So whatever ink you need to put in here, make sure that it's not like a crazy wet ink, because the ink flows very well through this pen. So I like that pen a lot. I haven't been using it a whole lot because it is more seasonal, just because of the color and the maple leaves. That doesn't mean that you won't see it from time to time, even in the spring. Yeah, I just haven't been using it as much because I've got other pens that are more with the season. They do have this one in white, and it just has like feathers instead up here. I actually got that from my friend. I'm really, really close to wanting to get one of these for myself, the white one, because it writes so well. But I think I actually, when I do that, if I do it, I'm gonna try it in a fine nib to see if that's any different from the flow of this medium one or not. So if I get that, I'll do like a little review or whatever on it. So this next one is cute. It is my TWSBI Eco Cream and Rose Gold. So I think basically I've seen everybody with this pen. So I like it. I got it because I was looking for something that I could put whatever color I want in. I use this specifically to house my ink of the month. Okay, so if you have seen other videos of mine, you've probably heard me talk about the ink of the month. And so basically I go through all of my ink bottles, and I choose an ink that I want to fill this all the way up with, to use for the entire month. And my goal is to write it dry if I can. So far the past 2 months I've been able to do that, considering it's the 22nd of February, and I've got this much ink in it. I don't think I'm gonna achieve that this month. Not because I don't like the ink. It's actually got my favorite ink of all time, Autumn and Auburn by Ferris Wheel Press, but I just haven't been writing a whole lot this month for various reasons. So yeah, this is the TWSBI Eco Cream Rose Gold. I do have it in a medium nib. This is probably this pen. So real quick, this pen, when I first got it last year, because I've only had it probably 4 or 5 months, when I first got it, I actually was not a huge fan of writing with it. I'm like, man, I'm never getting another one of these. But lately, as in like the past month or two, because it's been my monthly writer, I don't know if I have broken it in, gotten used to it, or what, but this is actually a pen that I gravitate towards and prefer writing with a lot more than when I first got it. So make sure if you get a TWSBI and you're like, oh man, this isn't writing great out, or this doesn't feel good writing with right out of the box, maybe give it a couple months, continue writing with it, and maybe your hand will get used to it, the nib will get broken in, whatever the case may be, before you just are like, let me not ever get this type of pen again. Because this one has definitely grown on me significantly from the point that I first got it even. So, and this one was about $50-ish. So I kind of mixed this one up a little bit. This one was about $30. I did get it on sale. This is my Majan A2, all right? And I think it's supposedly a dupe for the Pilot capless or the Pilot Decimo. So it's really, really thin. I actually really like this one. This was my second or third pin that I bought. And I bought it specifically so that I could use it at work. I handwrite all of my notes at work before I put them into the computer system because just how I practice. Anyway, and so I wanted a fountain pen with for blue ink, to house blue ink, which is why this is blue, and that I can just use and write with like every day at work on my papers, so I can write my notes down and have them. This is a Workhorse. I will let you know, and let me find it somehow, and I think it's because I pushed it down too much. There it goes. It's got a little crack here. It is plastic with the little stainless steel or whatever metal there, but it still works, and I'm going to use it until it is unusable because I use this every day. It's not bad to write with. It was a bit of a adjustment for me just because of this right here, but I have small hands, and it's not bad at all to write with, and I love that it clicks. So when I'm like taking notes, I can go from taking notes to talking with a patient real quick, and I can just click this so that the nib doesn't dry out. I know I've seen some people on YouTube say that the nib dries out. I have not really had that issue unless it runs out of ink. And I know there's several people who have already done reviews on this, but I personally like these little cartridges, and I just refill them. Probably about once a week. I write a lot at work and stuff, and they work just fine. So I really like this pen. If you're looking for something to try before you jump to spending the money on a Pilot, or if you even want to spend any money on a Pilot, I would try this first because it's a pretty good representation from what everybody's saying online, but also I did write with a Pilot Vanishing Point at a pen show, and I will say, other than the nib size, because I am a medium girly and they only sell these in extra fine, but other than that, it felt the same. So take what you will from that. I also wanted one that I could house black ink in full time, and so I got this Majan A1, okay? And so this is a little different from the A2 because it's all metal. It's all metal. And it's a little bit more thickums than the other, which I actually like. And what else? Yeah, it's got that little narrowing right there, whereas this one does not. Both of them are pretty comfortable to write with. I do like the weightiness of this one a little bit better. And I will also go ahead and let you know something that I haven't heard a whole lot of other people on here talk about, and it's the fact that the matte black actually, I don't know if you can see, yeah, you can kind of see it. It scratches itself after you use it, because I do use this every day, and so I'm constantly clicking it on and off, because I use this at my desk at work. I also use this in my work planner, stuff like that, if I need to jot a quick note and everything. So this gets used every day, and so you do get little bitty scrapes in the mat, which will kill your sole a little bit, but then you find out that permanent black markers work really well to hide it a little bit for you. Anyway, same mechanism as the other one, so I'm not going to undo this one. but I highly recommend. This is about 40 bucks at least on Amazon. AliExpress has it for way cheaper, and so if I ever decide to get another color, anything like that again, then I will absolutely be going the AliExpress route, because they're cheaper and I know that I like them and all that jazz. All right, so these last three are actually my most expensive pins, and I guess I should have flipped those, but oh well. So this one my husband bought for me, and it is a Franklin Christoph. I believe it's an O2 model in sage. This is in a broad nib. It's my only broad nib that I have, right? Yes, I think so. Yes, broad. Anyway, it's very pretty. It took me a lot of getting used to, this pin did, with the big honkin' nib here. I'm sure there's a more dignified way or a better way to say what type of nib this is and all of that. I'm not that technical. I have no idea the differences in the nibs. I think there's specific names for different sizes and how tall they are or something, but this nib is huge. It's huge. Like, for comparison, on a TWSBI, that's the nib length there. And so this one, I do love writing with it. It actually holds my ink of the year, Jacques Urbain Violet Imperial, in it. And I do write with this every day in my year-to-year journal, as well as my, I use it at work as well. So I write with it quite a bit, and it's very comfortable. I like the broad nib. It does well with shimmer ink, and stuff. So yeah, it's a really good pen. It is a converter fill, like every other one that I'm gonna show you now. The only one that's not a converter fill is my TWSBI. But yeah, and it holds ink. It's got a pretty decent capacity. Overall, a pretty solid pen. I like writing with it quite a lot, even though it is a broad nib. Yeah, my husband bought me this pen, and then he also bought me the ink that I have kept in this pen since it got bought. And so, yeah, this is also the pen that I write letters to my husband with as well. All right, the next one. So I'm going to mess this up a little bit and read right here. So this is an Edison Penco in the style Beaumont. So up until recently, until I got my Esterbrook, this was my most expensive pen. It was also probably my biggest disappointment. I don't know if it has anything to do with the pen maker or expectation stuff. This pen was $125 at the Colorado Pen Show. I bought it because I wanted a brown pen, and I'll show you. It's a broad nib, which that doesn't bother me, but what bothers me, and maybe y'all can help me out with this, but what bothers me is that I keep black ink in it, and this part right here, the grip section, like the ink gets in there, and I've cleaned it, I've left it to dry a couple days before I put the nib back in, all sorts of stuff, and it still does that. And I don't know, like the ink doesn't leak everywhere else or anything like that, but like, is that normal? Because I know in my demonstrator pens and stuff, that's totally normal, right? But my other pens, maybe I just don't see it because it's not quite as like see-through or something, but I just like, it doesn't do that, and that kind of bothers me a little bit. It's luckily a stub nib, if I didn't say that before, and it's a beautiful nib, but it's a stub nib, so like luckily I only use it and bring it out for headers, so I only have to see it for like a handful of moments every day. But I'm just so disappointed. I spent that much money on it, right? and it looks like that. So I was kind of, you know, not a happy camper. But other than that, it writes pretty good, and I don't have complaints other than the way that looks. This is also my shortest pen. Okay, so now for the baby, and I am still babying it because it's new. This is my newest edition, my Esterbrook Esty and Botanical Garden. It is, it's had a few surprises for me, and I'll kind of chat about that. And I just noticed that, like, I had all my pins in the background, so hopefully this video's okay. We'll find out. But anyway, Esterbrook Esty and Botanical Garden. It has a fine nib. So this one, I'm getting to know it still. The nib for the longest was loose in it, and I didn't realize it, and so I was getting like all of this random like leakage from here. And like 2 days ago, so on the 20th of February, I was like, well, let me try and see if the nib's loose, and I finally like tightened it, and so got rid of that. But I'm still having this weird problem, and you can tell me if I'm doing something wrong, by the way, because I want it fixed. But see all of that in there, and that's after like when I changed the ink out and everything on this. I cleaned it thoroughly, but it did that. So I don't know. We'll see if it continues. If it does, I might reach out to like where I bought it and be like, hey, this pin's doing this. Do you have any suggestions? Because that was kind of disappointing, because this is my most expensive pin. It was about $175 plus shipping, or maybe I got shipping for free. But anyway, either way, it's my most expensive pen, and I just don't want it to do that. So yeah, it is very nice to write with. Even my husband wrote with it when I first got it, and he was like, "Oh, that's nice." And he's not a fountain pen person, although I think he's changing a little bit. Somebody bought his first fountain pen last week. But anyway, yeah, so we'll see. I'll keep you updated on it, but I do love the colorway. I love how it writes. I just don't like the condensation stuff that winds up in the back of this barrel. So if any of y'all have any idea what's going on with that, how I can fix it and stuff, like, I would love to hear it. And if I didn't say it before, it is gold trim, and it is a fine nib. And I got it in a fine nib, not because I wanted it in a fine nib, but more so because because that's all that was left in the bundle. So yeah. But yeah, that's my pen collection. And so now I'm gonna move these back in frame and put this up, because like I said, I'm still babying it. I probably will for a long time. And then for my favorite to write with currently, that is really tough. So I like them for different reasons. So I will say long-term writing, this one is probably, this Natami is probably my favorite to write with long-term. Like if I know I'm gonna have a long like writing session or anything, this is definitely one of my favorites. The TWSBI is quickly becoming one of my favorites to write with, but it's not 100% there yet, but I have noticed I've been gravitating towards that. This one I have definitely been gravitating towards, because like I've had to use it just a handful of times this week instead of using my main colors, and I've noticed like the relief that I feel when I get to use this one. So you'll probably be seeing more of this Natami clear and rose gold in a fine nib more on the channel. But then when it comes to work, these two 100%. Like These make work possible or writing with fountain pens at work possible. And I'm one of those weirdos. Like, I cannot go back. I struggle with going back. After having written for the past 6 months almost exclusively with fountain pens, it's like a chore to write with anything that's not a fountain pen. And so anytime that I can get away with it, which is the vast majority of the time, then I write with my fountain pens, and I love it. So probably this one for my long term, these two for my work for sure. Like, these aren't going to be changed probably for the foreseeable future. I will say also I have been kind of itching to write with this one, but I can't decide if it's just because of the newness bias or not. So until I figure that out, I actually am going to put a pause on buying any other Estes. But I do really like it. And so I have a feeling I'll probably take that pause away soon. My main concern is just making sure that I can figure out the barrel thing, because if that's like a common thing with Esterbrook Estes, then that's gonna be a pretty big deal breaker for me, because if I can have a similar or comparable writing experience with a pen that's $15 and just not spend almost $200 on this, then I probably will. And that's not me dogging on the Esterbrook brand, because I really like it. Like, there are still plenty of Esterbrook Estes that are on my to get list. It's just, like I said, I don't like when I lose ink in the barrel. Like, it just makes a mess when you're having to change out inks and stuff. So if y'all have any tips or tricks on that, I would really love to hear it. Leave me a comment up below about it. Or something. Other than that, my all-time favorite pen, honestly, it's probably going to be this one right here right now. So yeah, this Natami Clear Rose Gold in extra fine. It's great. And actually, speaking of Esterbrook stuff, you see these this spring right here? It actually seals very well because of that. Like, it goes up in there, and yeah, I haven't had any problems drying out. I definitely haven't been using this pen every day, and it still writes as soon as I need it. And so I appreciate that. Anyway, yeah, so out of all of these are my collection. This is my collection. So if you have any questions, if you have yeah, definitely any advice on this Esterbrook Estie, I would love to hear it. Other than that, out of all of these, which one was your favorite? And then also, if you liked seeing this video, give me a thumbs up. It's definitely for free for you. And if you want to see more videos from me, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Other than that, I hope y'all have a wonderful day. Bye!